use soapstone to go on top. And I have the kids do it so that they can understand we didn't have Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yep.
And the kids can sit there and use a primitive rib bone bow
Yep.
and watch sawdust come out of a piece of wood.
Yeah.
And the teachers are fascinated.
My next project, I'm going to build a pump drill. I'm going to make a pump drill.
Pump drill's awesome. They're faster.
Because I got soapstone, so I'm going to make my spindle, my big pump, spinning part of it, my weight out of soapstone.
That would be perfect. But
yeah.
They use those for drilling out beads, stone, rock.
Yep, that's right. A lot of shell, because we have so much shell around here. That's what they used, was a lot of shell, oyster shell. And that's where we took shells up north to trade for stuff they had from up north. Flint, which we don't have down here, so they take the shells up there, bring back flint from up north. You know.
Freshwater pearls were traded.
Yeah.
But they wanted the shells bad up north.
Yeah, yeah.
They loved it. That was, and wampum, of course.
Yeah.
The purple shell.
Yeah.
That's showing their welt.
I took some Atlantic whelks and made dipping cups out of the whelks and sent them up to a buddy of mine up in Michigan. And they don't have shell up there. So he's like, those were awesome, you know.
There's a mound in Venice, Florida, went to, big oak tree right on the edge of it. And Ed Windancer took me there, was showing me where people went, and that's where they gathered a lot on the beaches.
Yeah.
In the shell. And I walked up there and I found a smudge bow laying by the oak tree under the edge of the leaves, an old smudge bow.
Yep.
And I found an old whelk earring. It had a tethered leather strap right,
That's
had a little hole laying right next to it. He says, "What is that?" Creek earring.
Yeah.
It had a leather tie. It went over the ear, and they would wear it.
That's cool.
It was so, and I said, he says, right here, this is a mound.
Yeah.
That's where they threw stuff, you know. They didn't want it anymore, or something happened, like a garbage dump.
Yep.
The leather might have broken. He said, I'll just get a new one, or he might have got mad at his wife and threw it away. She gave it to him, but there it lay, and I found it.
Yeah.
It was reused. John wants it bad.
Oh,
John
yeah.
Gibson.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always a lot of misconception about Indian middens being where people are buried, and it was actually garbage dumps, mostly, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
West Bay's got a large burial, and they got a garbage dump under an oak tree. But there's a long ridge. It'll go from here to that big oak tree. It's a burial. Long mound, and it's overgrown, and it's creek. But you can walk here, look under that tree and find a lot of old pottery. You'll find a lot of shell, tools and stuff. A lot of metal that was when they traded.
Is that state property?
Huh?
Is that state property?
When you go past a couple houses down there, it dead ends right on the beach. And they can't keep you from being on the beach. So the best way to do it is get your boat.
Yep.
And go around where the power lines are and come up, and you come right up to it.
That's funny, because I've got a buddy of mine, he's found a lot of pottery along them beaches, like you said, where you're talking about, and all up close to the steam plant area and all them, most of where the points come out. And he's got jars full of pottery that he's just went out there and picked up pieces and bits and pieces and bits and pieces.
A lot of the pottery in this area has silver flakes in it.
Didn't know that.
If you see a lot of it, Jensen, you'll see it glitter.
Yeah.
And they thought it, they used it like shell with the clay to make it harder. And I thought, silver dust in the pot, make it. I said, no.
Maybe
they love the glitter, trading with the Europeans. Trade a pot or something that had that silver in it. Some guy would want it for his wife bad, and they'd do more trading for it.
Yeah.
Then I had another guy tell me it's not silver.
Mica?
Mica flakes in it. And that could be. It looks just like silver. But there's a lot of mica in this area. And Uncle Clyde says it's silver. Huh?
Hundreds of years later, they had a different variety that was called a bust style. It had a round base, and the round base was down here at the bottom, and it was just the head part of the bird that was left on the bust style. And the bust style is the newer examples that they found. And these were found only east of the Mississippi, and most of them were north, upper coast, Ohio, Virginia, the Carolinas, on down. I don't think they've ever had them down this far south, but I could be mistaken. But John, when I first got interested in this, John said, "Hey, let me show you something." And he pulled these out. And I said, "Wow, that is cool." I said, "What are they?" And he said, "They're called bird stones." And I did my studying in because when I start carving stuff, I want to find out a lot more about it as I'm carving. So I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I think it's very cool to have the examples because
Why?
yeah, why? And you know what else? Nobody's got them. I could say, I got one of these. And
Have you tried the Smithsonian? See if they got anything like that, or Google?
when I found my research online that they've got thousands of examples of museums from here across the country. And all of them, like I said, were found east of the Mississippi that they found. Now they weren't found, they didn't say if they found them in fields, they didn't say if they found them in rivers, or if they found them in mounds. But I know archaeologists have done their studies on them, and these are a couple of the examples, and you can go on and Google it online, birdstones, and it shows you all the varieties. And they have some that are called fantail. They're actually longer, and the tail was more shaped like a spoon. They have the birdstone, which has a rounder base. This was more of a square base. They have them that are from 6 inches to 4 inches, and they have them smaller. They have some that instead of the base is flat, it's a concave base. They've actually got them concave, and then they've got some that have actually little feet here and a little foot here, where the hole goes through, and there's the space in between the feet.
Still fascinating, not knowing what they're for.
About 10 minutes, they said, for each hole.
What's that?
They say it'd take about 10 minutes for each
I
hole.
don't remember. I didn't really. She read the same articles I did because I actually saved the articles and I actually posted them. But I'll post them again on our site, on our group site, so we can.
I want to know what they are.
It's like the banner stones. The banner stones were done the same way, peck and grind method, banded slate, a lot of quartz, different kinds of stones, and harder stones. But the black soapstone is some of the hardest soapstone there is, besides the catlinite, which the catlinite is extremely hard too. But the black, I know I carved a lot of lighter color soapstone, and usually the darker it is, the harder it is that I know. And the red is really hard. The red is harder than the black, and the black is some of the hardest other than the cream colored stones. But, very interesting. And you like to carve? I've got a pile of soapstone. I'll let you take some pieces and you can carve some yourself. Look them up, bird stones, and then say,
That's
when you do, you'll start looking it up and you say, okay, yeah, I can do that.
Well, I want to know what they're used for now.
Nobody knows. So it would be interesting if you could go back to some of your older history and find somebody that could actually say what they were for. Because it's an interesting fact. I've seen one of these that were done extremely long too. It was about 6 inches long. The tail was laid back a little bit more flatter, which I thought was a really cool example. I've seen one that had little button eyes on it. It wasn't a pop eye. It had little button eyes. And this one had eyes on it, and I seen the smooth example, and I said, I'm going to make one like that. So I went ahead and smoothed the eyes off. But I still got it in my head. I want to make it.
Now I have smokes since I was in 9th grade. Quit years at a time, go back. Quit years at a time, go back.
Manly, I don't have a piece of black on me when I get to the. If you remind me, I'll get you a piece of the black. But here's a piece of the catlinite. This is red. It's extremely hard, and I'll give you a chance, and you can play with this if you'd like, just to see what it's like to carve on it, to see how hard it is.
Yeah,
That's a piece of red.
What are you mainly using to carve it with?
A file.
Like a rat tail?
A heavy rasp. Rasp it out with a rasp, and then take a smoother bastard file and just work it down to whatever you'd like. You can drill it with a piece of, you can use a Concord masonry bit to drill it. But this size here, you could still do a bowl with this size. It would be called a Micmac style, which was just a simple bowl with a hole at the bottom of the bowl itself. But that's a piece you could do a Micmac out of this size, because that's what they use, or what they use for their small pieces. is they would carve a Micmac style bowl.
Yeah, what I wanted to do is just like a little pocket, you know, a little pocket pipe.
Well, I'll probably have one for the trade blanket, like.
Right now, I don't have anything to trade.
Yeah, you do.
Antlers, well, antlers.
Antler, you can trade antler. That's a good trade item. But everything trades. Knives.
I'm not trading my knives.
Wool blankets. I'll tell you something somebody showed me was the, we call it yucca, but in the woods it's called the bear
grass.
Bear grass, yeah. And that the spindle that comes out of the middle, that's what they use for hand drills, for fire starting methods. And he told me you can also use the roots. You pull it up and you can use the roots for soap.
Yep.
And but that is one plant because if somebody shows me it in the woods, it's in my head like a catalog. So I know that is one plant I can pick out. I know what it is. I know what it's used for. And he made cordage out of leaves. We were sitting there, and he took the leaf, and he pounded the leaf out, made the fibers, and he showed me how to wind it together.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to see is how to splice in the next piece. So instead of having just a piece this long, I could actually keep winding them together. You know?
Yeah. I think it's just like when you're.
Great.
Well, I like the
Like
idea.
birdstones, you never know. I might end up throwing them on the trade blanket just because, you know.
Well, I like the idea of us having a trade blanket doing that.
I think that would be fun. I think we might do that one the next month.
Yeah.
And I think because I found with the backpack and my bowstring, I think cordage needs to be high on the list of a meeting that we need to have how to make cordage. And I keep looking at palms, and I've got some palms in my yard, and I want to make some cordage out of them leaves right there to see if it can be done.
Oh yeah, it can be done.
Yep.
Now, what did you call the black soapstone?
Steatite.
Steatite?